Ed Worley, NRA ILA's California State Liaison, is with us. How you doing, Ed?
Doing good, doing well.
All right. Well, the not-so-great news today is that AB 144, the open carry ban, was voted out of the Assembly today, right?
Yes, it was. It was voted off the Assembly floor. It's quite a debate today. It was fascinating to hear some of the debate from different members. One of the members actually said, and I'm going to read my notes here, he said, no constitutional right there are no constitutional rights that cannot be regulated by the government if the government has an overriding government purpose for doing so.
Okay.
So that's what he said, and all of us in the hallway watching this on the monitor right outside the chambers all looked at each other and went, "Oh, that's interesting."
Yeah.
Because we keep talking about that there haven't been any problems with people openly carrying unloaded handguns in California.
Right.
Even on the Assembly floor tonight or today, they could not cite any specific instance where there'd been a crime, or there'd been a problem, where there'd been some altercation with law enforcement or anything else. One of the Democrats said that officers could fire on persons carrying openly if they got scared. Well, I think it's an insult to law enforcement, because all the law enforcement guys I know are pretty level-headed people.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty amazing to watch the debate, because it sort of became ridiculous at one point, because they started talking about, well, we have to do this because then it degenerated into saying we have to do this because people are so bold as they're making a political gesture by openly carrying their firearms where people can see them. And we can't let people do this.
Okay. So, Ed, given the fact that, again, there's not been a problem
Right.
with open carry, and I'm kind of interested, Ed. Did the NRA's challenge to San Diego's lack of self-defense as a qualification to get a concealed carry license, did that come up in the debate at all?
Oh, absolutely. We handed out floor alerts about that, and our state affiliate handed out talking about the problems for hunters in rural areas with this bill.
Uh-huh.
And Solomon Knight, who's from law enforcement, got up and talked about the Peruta case. He said, perhaps you don't understand. If you pass this bill, you'll be pushing right to carry in California, which he said he supports.
Yeah.
By making this gesture, this political gesture of banning open carry of unloaded firearms, you are pushing the state to shall issue. And it's almost like a lot of the members who were supporting this bill are in a state of denial, not the state of California.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like there's this problem they have about seeing firearms in the public. There's this problem about, one of the members got up and said, well, if people sit around a coffee shop with their guns on their hips, then no one's going to want to go to that store, and families will feel threatened, and people will feel afraid, and businesses will close down because these people are have guns on them, and people can see the guns. It's almost phobic. It was amazing to watch. It was almost like it was, oh my God, there's a gun. What are we going to do? Oh my God.
Right. I mean, it sounds phobic.
Absolutely.
Which is weird, because if that really were the issue, Ed, then wouldn't they be demanding that law enforcement carry their firearms concealed? Because otherwise, I mean, what kind of warped perspective are we going to have of our law enforcement?
Well, and see, part of the thing that the debate came up talking about the Peruta case, and the thing I've consistently said at the Capitol is, the reason you have people openly carrying firearms and open carry like this is because they're being discriminated against in their urban areas about getting a concealed carry permit in California, because it's discretionary at the local agency level.
Mm-hmm.
So the only option they have left, as it was discussed in the Peruta case, is that if you're not going to issue people permits, their only other option for the right of self-defense is to openly carry the firearms unloaded with the magazine on their person.
Yeah.
So we keep talking about the same thing. We keep talking about the discriminatory aspects of issuing permits in California.
Right.
But it almost tripped into the weird zone today.
Almost?
With the debate. Yeah, well, believe me, I have seen some of the most bizarre floor debates as a California citizen on the state of California. This debate was bizarre, but don't underestimate the ability of my legislature out here to have bizarre debates about things, because it's gotten a lot more bizarre in other issues. Believe me, we're in California, and if you haven't seen weird stuff, you sometime turn in the CalSpan and watch a debate. You're waiting for the Twilight Zone theme music to start playing sometimes.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing to watch. So that's the kind of stuff that you see going on with this. Now, the bill has to go all the way through the Senate. So the next stop for the bill is going to be Senate Public Safety Committee.
Okay.
Then Senator Probst, and then back to the Senate floor. If they amend the bill, we'll have to go back to the Assembly yet again. So we're only halfway through the fight on the bill. But the amazing part of all this was they're afraid of trampling on the Second Amendment, according to the proponents. And they consistently said, oh, this doesn't restrict your Second Amendment rights. Oh, this doesn't restrict your Second Amendment rights. And one of the Republicans got up and said, well, in case you haven't read the Second Amendment, it says that people have the right to keep and bear firearms for self-defense. And it was a very strange debate today, because it was just the whole group of people getting up talking about political acts of defiance. One Assembly member got up and talked about, well, all this is a political act of defiance by these people, and all they're trying to do is go out and make a political statement. Well, last time I read our Bill of Rights, that's called the First Amendment. So not only are they trying to step upon and trample on our Second Amendment rights, they are specifically saying they don't want gun owners and NRA members and firearms owners out here to make a political statement about the right to own firearms and right to bear arms in public. That's the other thing that's making them nervous, is that people are actually going out and politely and in a civilized manner,
right,
displaying firearms for self-protection. We've talked about Arizona. We've talked about all the other states that have open carrying, and there's not been a problem. So time and time again, they cannot articulate a problem. They say, well, law enforcement will have to come out and find out, or gang members will be openly carrying guns in defiance of law enforcement. Well, gang members can't possess guns, in case you hadn't read the law in California. And everyone knows no criminal is going to walk around openly carrying a gun. They're not going to do it.
Right.
Because what will happen is, they've talked about instances where law enforcement has been called to Starbucks. And law enforcement comes in and they see somebody with a firearm. They go over and ask them their name, and they check them out and go, okay, there's not a problem, and they leave. So part of this is saying, well, this is straining the budget in California, because all this law enforcement resources are being wasted checking out persons who are openly carrying firearms within the law. And again, I ask the question every time I interact with the legislators: show me a police report, show me a crime report, show me a problem that this created, other than the fact that you feel uncomfortable by American citizens making a political statement and defending themselves and their families when you give them the only option they have left, and that's open carry, because you won't give them permits. You won't trust them to have permits. So part of the debate here is, well, one of the Republicans guys said, well, if you don't like them carrying guns openly, then give them permits so they can carry them concealed. If you're so hissy about, have a hissy fit about seeing guns in public, fine, just give everybody concealed carry permits. You don't have to be, you don't have to have your karma screwed around with by seeing a gun in public.
Well, this is how wrapped around and convoluted the gun banners' arguments are now. Is that in order for them to argue against open carry, as has been pointed out to them, they are in essence supporting, legally anyway, shall issue concealed carry in the state of California.
And see, that's it. Chuck Michel wrote up a brief for me, and I've given everybody at the Capitol the briefing on the Peruta case. Chuck Michel came and testified against the Portantino bill and said, look, this is what's going to happen. If you do this, we in the NRA will win. We will win if you do this. And it's almost like they're in, like I said again, not the state of California, but the state of denial. They sit there and they're so wrapped around the axle about people boldly going out and making the political statement that they want to protect themselves and their families, that it's almost like, people throwing up a cross in front of a vampire or something. Oh, my God, there's a gun. Oh, my God. Ah!
Yeah.
And And that's how it's strange to watch the debate, and that's how it was today. So the bill has a long way to go yet. People need to keep calling their state senators now about open carry and about all the other bills that are coming up that we will talk about if they get out of the suspense files in Assembly and Senate appropriations. But right now, AB 144 is the bill they should be calling about. Go to calnra.com, get the latest update there. Go to our ILO website, of course, and get the latest update there.
Mm-hmm.
But now people need to shift the focus over to the state Senate and start calling their state senators and ask them, why should not people be able to openly carry firearms to protect themselves? Because all these there's 26 different kinds of exemptions they've put in the bill.
26.
Yeah, well,
That's got to be easy for law enforcement to remember.
Well, exactly right. And that's one of the other Senator Nielsen guys said. This law is so convoluted, no one will ever figure it out. One of the exemptions they had put in there was for parades. Because imagine, like, the Rose Parade and the Veterans Day Parade. Okay. When you have, like, the Gauchos riding down the Rose Parade, they're carrying guns on their hips because they're cowboys.
Yeah.
Well, under this law, if they didn't give them an exemption, it would have been illegal for you to ride down the Rose Parade in California, which they've done for over 100 years.
Yeah.
In a cowboy uniform, cowboy costume, riding your horse with a 6-gun in your holster.
All right. Now, okay, so let's say this bill passes, Ed.
Right.
Could these open carry groups then walk in a parade dressed as cowboys and not run afoul of the law?
Yes, they could.
Okay, so you can't go to Starbucks, but you can hold a parade.
Yeah, so we could have a gun rights rodeo in downtown Sacramento. Everybody bring your horse, bring your 6-gun, ride down Main Street on your horse. They will go apoplectic because it's one of these stupid bills where they realize all the problems inherent in the bill. Like, one of the things we talk about is if you're out hunting or you're out horseback riding up in the Sierra,
right?
Then they give you an exemption for openly carrying while you're hunting, but not if you go onto a public road. So the problem is, if I'm sitting in my hunting camp getting ready to go out hunting, if I go and walk down the road on my way to my hunting activity, I'm supposed to have the gun in a locked case. And then when I get off the road, I can unlock it again. It's one of these convoluted bills where you sit and you actually get a headache trying to read all the exemptions they've put in there. Because what they're trying to do is solve all these problems they're creating by doing this. When I said, number one, you don't need the exemptions because you don't need the bill, because there's not a problem we're addressing here.
Well, amen to that, Mr. Worley. Hey, listen, Ed, I hate to do this, but the music is about to begin. I appreciate you coming on the program tonight, getting us caught up on this really dumb piece of legislation. Thanks again, sir, and we'll talk again very soon.
Take care. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Ed Worley, NRA ILA's California State Liaison.